Attention! National Aeronautics and Space Administration has just activated its alerts and triggered its planetary defense protocol after detecting inexplicable behavior in the alleged Comet 3I Atlas. And in case you didn't know, this protocol is activated when the probability of impact with Earth is greater than 1%. And the object is quite large. But, according to the calculations, the 3I Atlas will pass at a safe distance from our planet. So, what's the reason for activating the protocol? I'll tell you. As it gets closer to us, they realize they can't accurately measure its trajectory or how it will behave. Why? There are 3 reasons that become clear when we review its history. Pay attention. First, since it was discovered in July 2025, it set off alarms. Because its speed is too high for something so gigantic. Yes, it is 5 to 6 kilometers in diameter and is estimated to weigh around 33 billion tons. And it's been traveling from outside our system at 221,000 kilometers per hour, which means in 1 second it covers 61 kilometers. It was Harvard astrophysicist Avi Loeb who initially proposed that the interstellar object 3I and Atlas could be an extraterrestrial spacecraft. Then, other scientists responded to these statements and said that it would be a comet surrounded by a coma. A cloud of gas and dust that comes off its nucleus and makes accurate observation difficult. But here comes a second reason for alarm. The combined data from the James Webb and ground-based observatories reveal a composition that doesn't match any known comet. It has, among other things, pure nickel without iron, crystallized silicon, and cyanogen in unusual concentrations. These are engineered materials, meaning it's very, very unlikely that they combine naturally. Additionally, the cloud shows extreme polarization in its reflected light, a sign of an organized surface or technological structure. The brightness patterns repeat with millimetric precision, as if the object were rotating with an artificial stabilization system. Based on this information, Avi Loeb once again suggested that 3 and Atlas could be an extraterrestrial probe. And he added that it might be an ancient interstellar probe, an observation device manufactured in another solar system. National Aeronautics and Space Administration responded again, denying the artificial hypothesis but did not dismiss the data. And the third reason why National Aeronautics and Space Administration activated the Planetary Defense Protocol is that it recorded a repetitive signal, coherent and directed at 1420 megahertz. The frequency of hydrogen. The same one used by the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence project on Earth to search for extraterrestrial intelligence. Ha 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 ha. The signal appeared 3 times. The agency stays silent, suspecting echoes from the terrestrial project, but quickly activated its planetary defense protocol. And it's no wonder. They say that Donald Trump, who true to his direct style, met with National Aeronautics and Space Administration experts and simply asked them, "Can we say that 3 and Atlas is just an interstellar comet and not a spacecraft or an alien exploration probe? That it will change its trajectory or send signals revealing the location of Earth? Can we say that with 100% certainty?" And everyone's answer was no, we can't. With the information we have, we simply can't say with total certainty that 3 and Atlas are just a comet. And President Donald Trump's order was clear-cut. So what the hell are we waiting for? Activate the Planetary Defense Protocol. I want all telescopes pointed at that thing. The world is waiting for an answer, and I'm sure the Chinese and the Russians must already be planning something. Do you want to know what the 5 hypotheses the expert scientists are considering are? Get ready because I am El Documentalista. And this is it. Alarm at National Aeronautics and Space Administration 3 and Atlas is arriving. From the shadows to the light, from mystery and intrigue, touching you with more taboo. And I discovered in the midst of stubbornness that parallel worlds exist, and through my mistakes I learned humility, making a pact with the heavens. I am El Documentalista. Alright, the first hypothesis for now is the most accepted one, but I repeat, they can't confirm it, therefore it remains a possibility. This view holds that 3 and Atlas are natural interstellar comets, not artificial objects or extraterrestrial craft. This idea is supported by several lines of evidence. First, there's detectable cometary activity, which indicates that it is releasing gas from sublimated ices as it approaches the Sun. Secondly, the atypical chemical profile that we already explained. It doesn't rule out its cometary nature, but rather points to an origin in a very different environment from the comets we know. Since if it is a natural body, it is likely, due to its trajectory, that it comes from the very center of the galaxy, and that it is much older than our Sun and the planets. As 3 and Atlas approach Mars and later Earth, its expected behavior as a comet will be to increase its activity, the coma will grow, and it will form more prominent tails. If it really is just a comet, it will never get close enough to pose a danger. According to trajectory calculations, it will pass relatively close to Mars, about 30 million kilometers before reaching its perihelion, between the orbits of the red planet and Earth. At that point, the intensified solar radiation will induce a more vigorous sublimation of volatile gases from the nucleus, increasing the emission of dust and the extension of the coma backward, generating tails visible from ground-based and space telescopes. After its perihelion, 3 and Atlas will move away from the Sun and will eventually leave the solar system, progressively reducing its activity as temperatures decrease and the sublimation process weakens. Hypothesis number 2. It's a dormant spacecraft with no active intelligent life, probably an exploration probe from some ancient civilization. Some researchers have proposed the hypothesis that 3 and Atlas could be an inactive spacecraft. That is, a dormant extraterrestrial artifact without intelligent life operating at that moment. In a recent article, Avi Loeb and colleagues from Harvard University present that possibility. Since the object exhibits certain anomalies, such as a very precise trajectory, its speed, and the possibility that its brightness comes mainly from the core, these are interpreted as signs of an artificial structure. From that view, 3 Atlas would be a technological capsule sent to monitor or explore without visible active propulsion. This hypothesis poses a bigger problem. If that's just an exploration probe, does that mean there was or still is an intelligent civilization capable of building artifacts of that magnitude? Imagine the size of the colossal ship that released those probes to search for life or natural resources throughout the cosmos. Hypothesis 3. It's an active, functional exploration probe that will undoubtedly notice that Earth is inhabited. Some researchers proposed that 3 and Atlas is an active probe that sends signals and can detect Earth's communications. In his article, Loeb also suggests that if 3 and Atlas were intelligent, it could be designed to emit heat or electromagnetic signals. A form of signaling or a link with a distant mothership. He suggests that to verify this hypothesis, it would be key to detect artificial emissions or non-gravitational maneuvers when it passes near Mars and then Earth. It could also receive low-power terrestrial signals and respond by sending data or instructions back to the origin. It can't even be ruled out that it has a hidden propulsion system that allows 3 and Atlas to change its trajectory and pass closer, to observe where the signals propagated by our satellites, antennas, and radio transmitters are coming from. Here, 2 paths open. Some specialists advise governments that at the slightest confirmed emission of an artificial signal coming from an interstellar object, all countries should unite in a camouflage operation. That is, to turn off for a period of time any element that emits signals into the cosmos, including at least 80% of the lights in major cities, so that our location is harder to detect. Why? Since missions from Earth can no longer intercept and destroy the 3 and Atlas, we simply wouldn't make it. And if this hypothesis turns out to be correct, it will definitely detect us. Although there are already those who claim that the Russians, the Americans, and the Chinese have several dozen nuclear missiles in space disguised as communication satellites, ready to launch at any moment, in case 3 and Atlas carry out any hostile approach maneuver. Hypothesis number 4. 3 and Atlas is an alien ship built by an explorer civilization that needs help. This likely theory is based on the unusual aspects of the interstellar object that we've already seen. But in addition, the scientists did the mental exercise of trying to determine for what purpose and why a ship would leave its system and travel under those conditions. Or what if it was disguised as something else? The answer was solo. It could be for 2 reasons. First, that their planet had been attacked, and that forced them to leave in a ship that couldn't be easily detected. That is, they left thousands of years ago, disguising the artifact as a comet. This way they escaped without arousing suspicion. The second one is much more disturbing, and, well, pay attention. Hypothesis number 5. It says, without beating around the bush, that you can't rule out the possibility that 3 and Atlas is a hostile alien ship. And one of the worst? Because generally, in the tactics and strategies of war, those who attack by surprise camouflage themselves to hide their presence. Nature does the same thing. The lion hides behind the grass before attacking and only reveals itself when the prey is near. Very close. Scientists who back this hypothesis stated clearly, if 3 and Atlas is an alien ship, we're in terrible trouble, because it would definitely be a predatory, warlike, and cunning species. That, just like a sniper, will only reveal its true intentions when it pulls the trigger. Finally, I want to tell you that there is evidence and testimony revealing that here on Earth, dreams about extraterrestrial contact have multiplied exponentially in recent days. And based on that, there are 2 major events being organized among circles of psychics and those gifted in the occult and paranormal arts. One will have its epicenter in the city of Los Angeles, and the other in a city that has not yet been revealed, but it is likely to be in Mexico. In both gatherings, the psychics will try to perceive the energies coming from 3 and Atlas and determine whether it is a natural object or an extraterrestrial craft. Unfortunately, these 2 groups have a well-defined position, and they believe that if it is an alien civilization, they will be kind and peaceful. As a result, they will try to send them telepathic messages to facilitate an encounter between our species. But what if they're wrong? Well, in that case, it will be too late. Let me know in the comments, what do you think about 3 and Atlas? Do you know something or sense something that we should know? Did you dream of them too? If you've made it this far, prove it in the comments and write #3 and Atlas. That way, Will I know that you were one of those who watched the whole video? I'm El Documentalista, and this was... Alarm at National Aeronautics and Space Administration 3 and Atlas is arriving.